I couldn't help but doubt my eyes. The figure of my husband was there, where he shouldn't have been. Huh? Why? Why are you here? My husband should be on a business trip to the West Coast. Yet, unexpectedly, he's in a hospital in the East Coast, and not only that, he's in a neighboring state. That wasn't the only thing that surprised me. Next to my husband, there was a woman and a child sitting closely together. The mother and child directed soft smiles at my husband, and he responded with kindness, smiling back at them. If a stranger were to see it, they would think it's a scene of a happy family, I thought. But I felt differently. The scene I was seeing was a strange one. My own husband with a strange woman and child. I couldn't just let it slide like this. Slowly, I approached them and called out from behind. My name is Natalie Harper, and I'm 35 years old. After graduating from college, I started working for an advertising agency and got married at the age of 28. And I have been married for 7 years this year. My daughter Alana, who was born when I was 30, is almost 5 years old. She's growing up healthy and thriving, without any major illnesses. My husband Lenny works at a regular company, but he's been getting busier lately with lots of overtime and business trips. Due to those reasons, our daughter Alana has developed a slight discomfort towards her father.
Hey, Mom, is Daddy coming home today?
On this day, while preparing dinner, my daughter asked me that. I paused in my cooking, standing in the same posture as my daughter, and replied, Yeah, he's coming home, but like usual, I think he'll be late. Dad seems really busy with work.
Really? So it'll just be you and me until bedtime?
Yeah, that's right.
Yay! Let's watch cartoons together.
That's fine. I'll eat dinner and take a bath first.
Yes.
My daughter's face lit up, and she hurriedly went to the living room to set the tablecloth. A daughter openly delighted at her father's late return. Seeing that, I felt a slightly complicated mix of emotions, but it was unavoidable. It's not surprising that my daughter doesn't feel close to him. After all, my husband almost comes home just to sleep. We used to go out together as a family on weekends, but the last time we did that was over a year ago. His work is so demanding that working on weekends is not unusual. On days when he doesn't have work, he goes out alone somewhere. Occasionally, he stays at home, but he locks himself in his room, only watching movies or surfing the internet. Especially in the past year or so, there has been no conversation with our daughter, and even when their eyes meet, they don't exchange words. I always had to be in between them, so I spent my days being careful, even though we were a family. Alana is almost 5 years old. If we continue this misunderstanding, our daughter will truly grow distant from her father. In the past, we used to go out as a family often, and our daughter used to adore her father. I want our daughter and husband from those days to return soon. Thinking so, I decided, unusually, to wait for my husband's return. In the early morning, when I greeted him with a welcome back, my husband made an overtly displeased expression. Although slightly irritated by his attitude, I decided to initiate the conversation for now. Hey, you haven't properly talked with Alana for about a year.
It's not like that at all. There's just not much to talk about.
As her father, I want you to be more responsible in that aspect. All my friends go out with their families, and here at home, you don't even talk with your daughter. Don't you think that's a bit sad?
Even if you say that, it can't be helped. I'm not out just having fun. I'm doing my job, okay?
I understand that, but I still think Alana is feeling sorry for herself in this situation. My husband let out a sigh, looking bothered, and sank deep into the sofa. As I sat next to him, Lenny, loosening his tie, slowly spoke.
I'm sorry, but I'm really busy right now. There's a promotion at stake, and I want to focus on my work.
Your dedication to your job is evident, but isn't family important too? I know working on weekends is tough, but just for one day.
I don't want to be surpassed by other colleagues. Can't you understand? I've been working so hard for the sake of my family.
I understand that, but having said this much, I found myself in distress. I know that my husband is dedicated to his job and is desperately working for his promotion. But he is so absorbed in his work that he doesn't see my daughter or me now. If this continues, there will be cracks, not only in my relationship with my daughter, but in my entire family. Feeling insecure, I willingly confided my feelings to my husband. Lenny, please. I understand you're busy, but I want you to keep Alana's birthday open.
Huh? Birthday?
Yes, next month on the first Sunday. Technically, her birthday is on a Friday, right? But I also work on weekdays, so I want to take her out on Sunday.
I don't know my schedule for next month yet.
But at this point, there are no business trips, right? Even if you work on weekends, you can take a day off, can't you? Please, for Alana's sake. My husband, in response to my repeated requests, bluntly said,
Well, I get it.
I understood that he reluctantly agreed, even though he was in a bad mood. But even so, I was happy. The next day, while having dinner, I asked Alana, Hey, Alana, your birthday is coming up soon, right? Is there anything you want?
Huh? Really? I want something to make ice cream.
An ice cream maker, maybe? How about we go look at them together sometime?
Yeah. Yay, I'm so happy.
With a beaming smile, Alana happily continued eating her hamburger for dinner. Feeling in good spirits at that moment, I temporarily set down my fork and looked into my daughter's eyes. You know, Alana, for your birthday, how about going out with Dad and me?
Huh? Isn't Dad working?
Well, Alana, Daddy will take a day off for your birthday. So, let's go wherever you want. Just the three of us.
Really? I want to go to an amusement park.
Got it. Then, let's go to the amusement park as a family. You can choose a place you like as long as we can get there. Okay?
Yay! Thanks, Mom.
During the meal, my daughter was fidgety, repeatedly asking, Is Dad really coming? And, Can we really go with the three of us? Feeling the overwhelming cuteness, I couldn't help but smile. Although I had thought my daughter disliked her father, it seemed that deep down she had been lonely. She appeared much happier than I had imagined, particularly reacting to the idea of the three of us being together as a family. One day, as the weekend with plans to visit the amusement park with our daughter approached, my husband came home unusually early. He awkwardly opened his mouth, saying,
Hey.
When I asked what happened, he remained silent for a moment and then spoke with a heavy heart.
I have a business trip from Thursday to Sunday this week.
What are you talking about? You promised to keep that day open because it's Alana's birthday, didn't you?
It can't be helped. The person who was originally supposed to go suddenly couldn't make it. I was the only one who could replace him.
Even so, why didn't you refuse this time? Do you realize how much Alana was looking forward to it?
I'm telling you, there was no other option. It wasn't a situation where I could refuse.
Despite our daughter sleeping in the next room, my husband raised his voice without concern. Alana is sleeping. Attempting to calm him down, I try, but he continues to shout with a flushed face.
It's easy for you since you work in a company where you can leave on time. But I'm different. My advancement depends on how quickly I can rise in a highly competitive environment.
Advancement. What exactly is it? I understand that work is important. But what about us? What about our family?
It's a wife's duty to support her husband. This is why I dislike people working in laid-back workplaces.
But if that's the case, at least come back early on Sunday.
Impossible. The business trip is to the West Coast and it takes 5 hours one way by plane. Anyway, I can't cancel the business trip from Thursday, so you two go together.
Wait, Lenny? Ignoring my calls, my husband left the living room. Inside the room, only my sighs echoed. Time passed without me being able to tell my daughter the truth because I didn't know what to explain to her. On Thursday night, the night my husband left for his business trip, I reluctantly decided to confess.
Hey Mom, we're going to this amusement park on Sunday.
Sorry, Alana. Actually, Dad, he has a business trip starting today until Sunday.
For work?
Yeah, I'm sorry. So is it okay if it's just you and me?
I understand. Then you and I will go to the amusement park.
A moment of silence hinted at our daughter's feelings. She probably wanted to go with her father as a family of 3. But she pretended to be okay, not to trouble me. Realizing that, I felt a surge of guilt, almost bringing tears. Even so, for the smiling daughter in front of me, I managed to hold back the tears. Even though Sunday would be just me, I was determined to make sure Alana had a great time. Someday, I'll make it up to Alana. A few days later, on the day of the amusement park visit, early in the morning, my daughter returned home and began preparing to go out on her own. To enter as soon as the park opens, we left home at 7. Clearly excited, she frolicked around the amusement park all day. But upon closer inspection, her face seemed a bit flushed. Worried, I stopped her. Alana, wait a moment.
What, Mom?
I grabbed her arm and placed my hand on her forehead. When I did that, I felt an intense heat. Alana, wait. You have a high fever. Why didn't you say anything?
I don't have a fever. Come on, Mom. Let's go to the merry-go-round.
Alana, this is definitely a very high fever. Shall we go to the hospital together, me and you?
No way. I finally got to come with you, Mom.
Alana? As if her body was in pain, my daughter collapsed on the spot. Why didn't I notice this before it got to this point? Driven by guilt, I quickly held my daughter and rushed to the university hospital in the car. Upon explaining it was the first visit, we were directed to the pediatric department. When her fever was measured, it was over 104 degrees, and she was immediately put on an intravenous drip. We'll watch you here, and your mother can rest a little too. My heart, which was tense, calmed down a bit with the nurse's gentle words. I decided to buy necessary items for my daughter at the shop and take a break on a bench in the rest area. As I walked through the hospital, I hear a familiar voice somewhere. I turned toward the voice and saw an incredible person there. What?
Lenny?
Why? Why are you here? I couldn't help but doubt my own name. My husband should be on a business trip to the West Coast, yet why is he still here on the East Coast? And in the hospital in the neighboring state? What surprised me even more was not just that. Next to my husband, there was a woman and a child sitting closely together.
Hey, Mom, are we going shopping after the hospital?
That's right, with Dad and the 3 of us.
Yay! I'm looking forward to going out with the 4 of us soon.
Since you'll be a big sister soon, be responsible, okay? From what I overheard, it seems the mother is pregnant with her 2nd child. Her belly is round, and my husband is happily caressing it. The mother and child both smiled softly at my husband, who smiles back warmly. To an outsider, it would seem like a happy family scene, but I see it differently. The scene I'm witnessing is the strange sight of my husband being with an unfamiliar woman and her child. I can't just silently let this pass. I clenched my fist, trembling with anger, and bit my lower lip. Ah, I see. So that's how it is. Working on weekends, business trips, it was all a lie. Unforgivable to betray both me and Alana like this. Step by step, I approached them, stood behind, and slowly began to speak. So, your business trip is already over, huh? My husband turned around abruptly at the sound of my voice. His face had an expression as if he had seen a monster. My husband, with a pale face, desperately squeezed out words.
Natalie? Why are you here?
I went to the amusement park with Alana, but she got a fever. She's getting an IV right now. More importantly, why are you here?
Well, that is...
What about these people? When I asked, the woman next to us turned pale and looked down. At that moment, the woman's child curiously asked,
Who is the lady? A friend of Mom and Dad?
Hello, what were you doing?
Today is Mom's baby checkup. Even though Dad is busy with work, he always comes with us to the hospital.
Oh, I see. You really love Mom and Dad, huh?
Yeah, we're going to the amusement park together next time, right? Right, Dad?
My husband forced a strained smile. Then, when the child said, I'm going to the restroom, and left the scene, I seized the moment to confront my husband. Can you explain what's going on?
No, it's not like that. This is...
What's not like that? From what I've heard, you're the father of that child and the one in the mother's belly, right? You've been telling Alana and me it's work, business trips. How much of a scoundrel can you be?
Wait, let's calm down for a moment. I don't plan to break up with you, Natalie.
Driven by anger, I grabbed my husband's collar and pulled his face close, almost touching noses. With a cold stare, I spoke in a low voice. You've got to be kidding. Regardless of me, how much more can you betray Alana? A scoundrel like you as a father? Don't make me laugh. You, an irresponsible jerk who hurt your own daughter so much, making kids elsewhere.
It's not like that. Please, forgive me.
Forgive you? How convenient for you to say that. Neither Alana nor I will ever forgive you. When you come back, be prepared to sign the divorce papers. I pushed my husband away with all my might and left the scene. Later, after my daughter's condition improved, on the way home, I obtained divorce papers from the city. After returning home, I gently explained all the circumstances to my daughter. My daughter, though still young, seemed to have desperately understood everything and said the following in the end.
That's good. It's not you, Mom, who's leaving.
Huh?
Mom, you always looked sad when talking to Dad.
I don't care as long as I'm with you, Mom. But, Alana, you liked Dad, didn't you?
I did, but I love Mom the most. I hate anyone who hurts Mommy.
Alana... The figure of my daughter smiling gently brings tears to my eyes. To prevent her from realizing that tears were about to spill, I hugged my daughter tightly. Afterward, I divorced my husband. I made sure to claim assets from him and the woman he cheated with, who was close to giving birth. Despite his desperate attempts to negotiate a reduced settlement, citing the existence of children and the impending birth of a second child, I firmly refused. I have no intention of reducing the settlement or relinquishing control. The one who committed the heartless acts was him, after all. It seems Lenny had been regularly taking time off from work to visit his affair partner's house. This was discovered by his colleague shortly after the divorce, leading to a loss of trust. His career advancement abruptly halted, and he became the subject of disapproving looks from his co-workers.
I heard Lenny had a family, but it seems he made kids with another woman. Yikes, gross. Not only can't he do his job, he doesn't even have common sense.
Well, if he's that useless, it would be better if we quit. Despite these insinuations, he has managed to stay at the company to pay my alimony and Alana's child support. I'll watch from a distance to see how long this situation continues. On the other hand, as for me, I moved to an apartment near my workplace, starting a life alone with my daughter. Both sets of grandparents regularly visit our home to ensure my daughter doesn't feel lonely. In the future, being a single mother might cause my daughter some sadness. To minimize such situations, I plan to shower her with as much love as possible as a mother. When I returned home on the night of the wedding anniversary, there was my husband and the figure of an unfamiliar, flashy-looking woman.
Let me introduce her. She's my girlfriend.
Huh? Seeing me speechless, the affair partner burst into laughter. Hey, this lady looks dumbfounded, and it's hilarious.
Hey, don't laugh. We're dropping a bomb on her on our wedding anniversary, and she's surprised.
The two of them, with vulgar smiles on their faces, I finally opened my mouth. So, what's the deal with that girlfriend of yours?
Get out of here. We'll be living here. Me and her. You're useless here. Pack your things and be gone by tomorrow.
Why are you suddenly saying this? Do you think I'll agree to that?
Hey, haven't I said enough? I'm tired of seeing your gloomy face. Don't interfere with us, ugly.
At that moment, I heard a sound like something inside me had snapped. Yes, if that's how you're going to talk, then I won't hold back anymore.
Are you too shocked to even speak? It's understandable. Look at us. We're in love after all.
My husband hugged the shoulder of the woman with whom he was having an affair. The moment I saw that, I suddenly burst out laughing. After this, my foolish husband will have plenty of hell to pay. My name is Olivia, and I'm 35 years old. I'm married and born as the only daughter of the Smith family. My father ran a small company called Smith Industries, and we were relatively well off. My childhood was happy with a family-oriented father and a kind mother who was a homemaker. However, when I was in the 3rd grade, my mother fell ill. During the progressive illness, my mother passed away within 3 months of hospitalization. At that time, I mourned deeply together with my father. For both me and my father, my mother was an irreplaceable presence. Afterward, I lived with my father, supporting him. To support my father, I learned household chores. Though busy as a company president, my father always made sure to attend my school events and sports festivals. The two of us somehow managed to get by. Eventually, I graduated from college and started working as an executive secretary at a major company. Being a secretary was a demanding job, but it was fulfilling. I dedicated myself to work for several years. Before I knew it, even though I was approaching my late 20s, I didn't have a boyfriend. A colleague introduced me to a man, and that man later became my husband, Craig. Craig worked as a sales representative for a beverage company. From the beginning, he boldly approached me. For someone with little experience in romance like me, it seemed like he was a dependable and masculine presence. We started dating. A year and a half later, Craig made the long-awaited proposal.
Olivia, please marry me. I'll definitely make you happy.
Thanks, Craig. I'm glad. We decided to visit each other's parents and seek their approval for the marriage. After receiving support from the in-laws, the next step was to go to my father's place for the final approval.
Oh, so you're Craig, huh? I've heard about you from my daughter.
My father welcomed us with a happy expression. When Craig expressed his desire to marry me, my father nodded in satisfaction.
Of course. I support your marriage. Thank you, Dad.
Then the father brought up something unexpected.
Craig, don't you have any intention of joining our company? Huh? We were just looking for a salesperson. If you're interested, would you consider joining our company? I'd like you to work with us as the successor. Me? As the successor?
Craig's eyes sparkled with excitement. My father had always said,
A president undergoes significant hardships, so I'd prefer to have a son-in-law take over if possible, rather than my daughter."
In response to such words from my father, Craig lowered his head.
"Dad, please. I appreciate it." "Is that so? If you're coming, I promise you a good position. I'll make sure you're well taken care of."
And so my marriage and Craig's employment were decided at the same time. Afterward, we had a wedding ceremony and started living in a house located between our workplaces. However, despite both of us working, Craig didn't contribute to household chores. He didn't throw trash in the bin, left clothes scattered, and didn't even bother to wash the dishes after eating. Initially, I did everything, attributing it to the honeymoon phase. But after a few months of such a lifestyle, stress began to build up. I finally spoke to my husband. "Craig, can't you help with the housework a little? We're both working, and it's not fair for me to do everything." Craig, lying on the sofa and looking at his phone, responded casually.
"Huh? Why can't you continue doing it like before, Olivia?"
"Huh?"
"Taking care of the house has always been the wife's job since ancient times. I'm tired from work."
"I work outside the home too." Craig frowned.
"Look, I'm working hard to take over after your old man. I'm exhausted every day because he keeps pushing me around. Don't I deserve some gratitude?"
"Of course, I'm grateful, but..."
"Then, show your gratitude toward your actions. Household chores are your responsibility. Don't tell me to help. Got it?"
And so Craig completely delegated the household chores to me. This kind of life continued for several years, and I had given up. I thought that as long as I endured, our marriage would be fine. Around the 4th year of our marriage, perhaps, Craig started claiming he was busy with work and began to be absent from home frequently. Days when he returned home drunk in the middle of the night increased. Considering his job in sales, it was inevitable that there would be many business dinners and drinking sessions. Thinking so, I didn't say anything in particular. It was a shock when he completely forgot my birthday. When I told Craig it was my birthday, he just laughed dismissively.
"Oh, really? Already 34, huh? You've become an old lady."
While hurt, I wondered if couples inevitably become like this after 5 years of marriage. I felt lonely inside. On one such day, Craig came home very late, completely drunk. He threw his belongings on the living room sofa and passed out. Watching him with exasperation, I picked up the scattered items. Then, Craig's phone slipped from his hand and fell with a thud on the floor. When I picked it up, I was astonished. There was a text message notification on his phone. "Craig, thanks again today. You were great again. So, I can't stand up yet. Let's meet again soon." The sender's name was Christina. Shaken but determined, I placed Craig's phone on the table. Does this mean what I think it does? Unbelievable. I have to investigate. So I decided to hire a detective to look into Craig. A few weeks later, on our 5th wedding anniversary, I finished work and opened the front door of our home. There were Craig's shoes and unfamiliar woman's heels. Confused, I raised my head, and I instantly froze. Craig and an unfamiliar woman were standing in front of me grinning. The woman had flashy hair, wore a miniskirt, and her cleavage was visible. She appeared to be in her mid to late 20s. Oh, wait, what is this? Who is she? Trembling, I asked Craig.
"Oh, you're finally home. Sit down. There's something important to discuss."
Saying that, Craig gestured for me to sit at the dining table. Craig and the woman sat side by side on the sofa. Explain properly. What is going on? In response to my question, he said,
Let me introduce you. She's Christina, my girlfriend.
Huh? Seeing me in shock, Christina burst out laughing. Seriously, this old lady is dumbfounded. It's hilarious.
Hey, don't laugh like that. We're dropping a bomb on her on our wedding anniversary, and she's surprised.
The two of them, with vulgar smiles on their faces, I finally found the strength to speak. So, what's the deal with this girlfriend of yours?
Get out of here. She and I will live here. You're no longer of any use to us. Just pack your bags and be gone tomorrow.
What are you suddenly talking about? Do you think I'll accept that?
Hey, don't I have to say this much before you get it? I'm tired of seeing your annoying face. Don't interfere with us, ugly.
At that moment, I heard a distinct sound of something breaking within myself. Yes, that's how you want to put it? Fine. I won't hold back either.
Shocked into silence, huh? Well, considering we're in love, it's understandable.
My husband hugged the shoulder of the woman with whom he was having an affair. The moment I saw that, I suddenly burst out laughing. Craig and Christina look at me with an eerie expression as I suddenly start laughing.
What's wrong with you? It's creepy.
Hey, what's up with this lady? I can't believe she suddenly started laughing. Did she go crazy from the shock? After laughing for a while, I wiped away the tears accumulating at the corners of my eyes and said, It's about time, isn't it?
Huh?
Just then, our home doorbell rang, and there stood my father. I had called my father immediately after inviting them into the house earlier. Hey, who's this old man? Christina's face was distorted. Then Craig hurriedly told her.
Dad, what happened all of a sudden? Craig, what on earth is going on?
Suddenly, Craig's eyes darted around nervously. We, father and I, stood side by side in front of Craig and Christina. Without hesitation, I addressed Craig's affair partner. Now, Christina, was it? First of all, where did you meet Craig? As I started the conversation, Christina answered while glaring at me. Craig visited the club where I worked. When you say club, do you mean a nightclub or something? Yeah, but what's the problem with that? No problem at all. So, did you and Craig meet at the club and fall in love? Why were you attracted to Craig? As she said this, Christina looked at Craig with dreamy eyes. Because Craig is the next president, isn't he? There's no one more suitable for a promising future like him than me. At that point, I burst into laughter again. It was so funny that I couldn't stop laughing. Hey, old hag, what's so funny? The next president? How did you hear that? He tells me he's working to take over his parents' company. When you say parents, you mean my father, right? This man only joined my father's company as a son-in-law. What? Christina compared Craig's face to my father's, and then Craig, with a smug look, said this.
Oh, it's a fact that I'm the next successor.
Then my father responded with an exasperated tone.
After causing such a scandal, how do you think you can inherit the company? Huh?
Craig was the only one not grasping the situation. He had been planning to inherit the company despite cheating on me and telling me to get out. Realizing this, I was genuinely disgusted. My father only wanted to let you inherit the company because you're my husband. After betraying me, he's not going to announce the company now.
What? Wait a minute. That's a problem.
Then my father spoke.
For now, you're fired as of today. What? Fired? Why should I be fired from my company for something private? That would be an unfair dismissal.
Craig turned bright red and attacked me, but my father calmly told him off.
We did an internal investigation and found that you were skipping out on company business while you were out on your rounds. There are records on the dash cam showing you going to a motel. Were you meeting that woman during work? Your sales performance was terrible, and your work attitude was terrible. Even so, I kept you around solely for my daughter's sake. However, even that sense of obligation is gone now. You're fired. Absolutely.
Craig, stunned by his father's words, faltered. Then, Christina raised her voice. Wait a minute. Does that mean Craig will be unemployed? That's right. My condolences. Craig, with a pale face, informed Christina.
Well, but it's okay, right? We have love. If you, Christina, support me until I find a new job...
Love, huh? As I said this mockingly, Craig glared sharply at me.
What's with you? Don't be jealous, ugly.
Here you go, a present from an ugly woman to you. I spread several photos on the table. The photos showed Christina holding hands with another young man on a date and entering a motel. Seeing this, Craig's eyes widened.
What's this?
Actually, a little while ago, I happened to see a text message from Christina on your smartphone. When I had the detective agency investigate, we found something interesting.
Detective agency? Hey, wait, is this for real?
While Craig stared at the photos as if he couldn't believe it, Christina turned pale beside him.
Hey, Christina, what does this mean? Were you with another man besides me?
Then Christina shouted, Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Don't let the unemployed talk to me!
Huh?
Who would bother with someone like you if you're not the heir and wealthy? Marrying into a family's company and getting fired on top of that? It's the worst! I was deceived!
What's that supposed to mean? You said you loved me, didn't you?
As the two of them started a heated argument, I intervened with a clap of my hands. Smiling at Craig and Christina, who were staring at me in astonishment, I calmly said, So, Christina, you only got close to Craig for the money, right? There was no love from the beginning, huh? Of course. Why should I have to go through this? I was deceived. To Christina, who was almost in tears, I coldly stated, Why pretend to be a victim? You willingly got involved with a married man, didn't you? You'll have to take responsibility for that, and I'll be taking a hefty $17,000 in compensation. Huh? $17,000 is impossible. Just show me something that proves your identity. As I asserted, Christina turned pale and took out her driver's license. I quickly noted down her address and real name. I'll send the documents later, so look forward to it. You can leave now. Christina grabbed her bag and dashed home, crying. Left behind, Craig was dumbfounded, muttering something.
This can't be. It's a lie. Christina betrayed me. She was only after money.
You seem to be in a lot of shock. Before anything else, don't you have something to say to us? When I inquired, Craig's expression changed to a startled one, and he crumbled on the spot.
I was wrong. I was deceived by an awful woman. I truly love only you. So please, let's go back to how things were.
As Craig said that and glanced at me, my father clicked his tongue.
How ridiculous. He passionately claimed to love Christina just a moment ago. And now, as soon as her infidelity was exposed, he completely flipped?
Taking a deep breath, I angrily confronted him. Who do you think will accept you back to the way you were? We're getting a divorce. We have evidence, so I'll make sure to collect a hefty alimony. Be prepared, you worthless man." As Craig shrank under the stern gaze of a fierce me and my father, he promptly fled from the scene. Later on, the divorce between Craig and me was finalized. I managed to secure all of our shared savings and a $20,000 alimony. Naturally, I also claimed alimony from Christina. When she pleaded that she couldn't pay, I threatened legal action, and she quickly transferred the money. True to my father's declaration, Craig was fired from the company. It seems he also broke up with Christina. Contributing to Christina without saving much, he resorted to borrowing money to pay the alimony owed to me. Now he has moved to a rundown apartment and works day and night to make ends meet. Craig has lost everything: the seat of the next company president, savings, and his partner. On the other hand, I apologized to my father for the trouble caused by Craig. In response, my father reconsidered his stance and said,
"Observing how you handled this situation, I thought you could take over the company. I strongly request you to consider it."
I am currently studying various aspects as the potential successor. I want to dedicate myself to my work from now on, while brightly carving out my own life.